Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 production on temporary hold. That is a headline this week on Movie Burner News. And joining us as always is John, and we're going to delve right into this one, John. Doesn't come much as a surprise, but there is some revelations in this report from Variety.com on some of the internal issues that are surrounding this movie's release. It's quite disturbing actually when we look at it. I'm just looking at that. Part of I think it was 20 of the crew members have been told that they are free to look for other work. A source told Variety on Friday, that was last Friday. This seems to suggest to me that plans for a third instalment of the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise is going to be shelved for the time being. Certainly does leave a lot to the imagination and storytelling terms in regards to where we have left these characters after Infinity War. But I'll just let you in, John, with your thoughts on this news coming in from Variety.
Yes, I'm not too surprised, but then in other ways that I'm surprised, because this is such an important franchise for the MCU. It's got its own distinct comedic taste, tone. So for them not to continue this, it's basically like a trilogy. I don't think it's ever been confirmed that it's a trilogy, but Disney tend to fling out trilogies with their MCU. You've got the Captain America trilogy, the Iron Man trilogy, the Thor trilogy, and now we've got this. And for them to be having this issues, again, it doesn't surprise me with the nonsense surrounding James Gunn. Obviously, don't think it's been fully dealt with yet. They're still negotiating a way out for Gunn. It was announced that he'd been sacked, but then we then discovered he hadn't indeed been sacked. That they just stood him down from this film, and they were in the midst of negotiating with his advisors and stuff for a decent severance package. So he's maybe still connected with Disney. They've got issues with that. They've also got issues with Dave Bautista as well, coming out and prominently saying that he's disgusted with Disney's decision to separate with James Gunn. He says they were not a good employee to work for, and that he was sickened if he weren't using his script, he would be away and stuff. And you don't know what the likes of Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Bradley Cooper and the rest of the people involved in this are saying behind the scenes. They might not be as prominent in coming out and airing their opinions on it, but they might be equally as disgusted, not want to continue without James Gunn. And this may be a reason why the film has been shelved, because they've got too much conflict between the cast, the crew, and the higher up figures within Disney, the likes of Bob Iger and stuff. And I presume Kevin Feige's got to be involved in this in some way or the other. He is in control of the MCU and the direction of the story and stuff, so you'd think he'd be trying to arrange for a director as well. You've got the other thing, but they may be struggling to get a director involved here. There was obviously talk of Taika Waititi at one point coming in, but it was never ever confirmed. He'd certainly bring that similar comedic flair to the film. He's got a distinct taste as well. Certainly we've seen that with Thor Ragnarok. It was very close to the tone we've seen in the Guardians of the Galaxy films. Totally different to anything else. Not as serious. You get the chipping in from all the various different crew members within the ship. It's just very slapstick at times. Quite deadpan delivery at times from the likes of Chris Pratt. But it's all speculation, Stephen. What is not speculation though is, as you did say, that the crew members have been told to go and find other work basically, which I think's a bit shoddy. It's disgraceful having these guys come on board for pre-production and then dismissing them. I think this says less than 20, so it's not a great deal, but that doesn't really matter. This is people who've turned up to do a job, obviously not been warned in advance that it's not going to happen, and then been told quite carelessly to go and find other work. I'm sure this happens all the time in Hollywood though. This is a darker, grittier underbelly you don't get to see. You get to see all the glam, the glitter of the ceremonies and stuff like that, and all the good sides. You don't get to see the underside where people just get carelessly thrown out and told to go and get work elsewhere. But reasons behind it could be anything, Stephen. Could be James Gunn warring with them, not sorted that out, try to get a director in. It could be the crew rebelling, could be the cast rebelling, or it could just be that they want to make sure they've got a clear agenda set in stone before they continue on and get production in place.
Yeah, I think there might be some friction between the cast and the producers on this, John. You know, it's no coincidence that the likes of Chris Pratt, etc., have come out and voiced their feelings on the handling of the director. Ironically, Sean Gunn, James Gunn's brother, who plays Kraglin in the last two movies, hasn't come out and defended James Gunn, his brother. You know, I don't really want to delve too much into what he did say. I think it was maybe about a month ago, but he didn't support his comments. He's supporting his brother in other ways, but certainly in regards to these comments from a long time ago. He's distancing himself. It must be very hard for Sean Gunn in his position, as obviously being the brother of the director, but also, you know, being a cast member. I think all the cast members, I would imagine, are very united on this, from what we gather. Certainly there's nothing in this report, so I don't really want to speculate here, but I can imagine that the cast have been tied down contractually, so they're not really going to come out and say a lot in regards to the state of the production on this Volume 3. But I think there might be something there that there's a bit of friction between the cast members and the production and the producers.
Yeah, what they're saying in that other article, Stephen, from the Hollywood Reporter, is that Disney and Marvel Studios are regrouping in the aftermath of Gunn's firing. So that would kind of a hint into what I said, that they want to get a clear agenda set in stone. Are they going to use the James Gunn script? Are they going to bring in this director? Who's going to be involved? Who's going to revolt and going to have to be replaced? Maybe a recast from the cast, and then they'll go on into production. It's also a bit of a mess after the sacking of James Gunn, or the stepping down and the severing of ties with him. The other thing it may be is that the likes of James Gunn may not want his script to be used if he's not going to be on board or involved in the directing of the film. He's obviously penned that. That's his work. That belongs to him. And so if they're planning on reusing his script or using his script, but not having him helm the film, as was the reports from a week or so or 2 weeks ago, maybe he's not happy about that, and again they're having to negotiate some deal with him that will appease the cast who want to use his script, but appease them as well. They also don't want him on board. The final thing that I would say, speculation wise, is it could be that they're realising the severity of what this may mean for this franchise, and maybe even future MCU films, from fans who are not happy with the sacking of James Gunn. They may be taking a moral high ground here or whatever and deciding they want to boycott films going forward. They may have to assess the fan reaction before they decide whether they want to continue on with this, because certainly I think the feelings I'm seeing is that the majority will not be going and supporting this film because James Gunn's not involved. If it's not James Gunn in it, it's not Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm seeing a lot of people saying, and I can kind of get on board with that, but if they get tacky with TT in, I'm easily swayed.
Fair enough, John. The other thing that really struck me is where the cast, the characters, are going to go.
Yeah.
Are they going to have to do some rewrites for Avengers 4?
Yeah.
Because if they're going to be shelving this franchise, which I doubt they'll do, the first two films were absolutely amazing, but there's a lot to discuss and obviously sort out before they get to that stage. But sort of the initial handling of these characters is going to have to be dealt with immediately, because, you know, as we know, the character of Gamora and her demise was one of the shocking things in Infinity War, and whether or not she'll be returning or not, there's a lot of storylines there that'll have to be tied up if they're not going to revisit the Guardians of the Galaxy, if we're going to get a Volume 3 or not. But certainly initially they might have to do a bit of rewriting for Avengers 4, perhaps. I don't know what sort of capacity these characters are going to have in the next Avengers film, whether it will just be small or not, and we're going to really focus more on the original Avengers, which I think they might do.
Yeah.
But who knows? I think it's going to have a knock-on effect, but I hope it's not the end of these characters, because I think over the last 4 or 5 years we've grown to love these characters. Certainly, I think I could put my hand up and say that when you asked me, John, if I wanted to go along and see that first film when it first came out, I put my hand up and say I didn't really know too much about this. I wasn't very keen on going to see this, but it was a Marvel release. I was curious. I went along and came out thinking this is the best film since sliced bread. Yeah. It was a tremendous film. The sequel, perhaps a lot of people didn't really like the sequel as much, thought there was a lot of forced humour. I get that, but again, it's the characters I would go back to see. I love the characters, I love their camaraderie as well. They all pull together. They're all these, intergalactic misfits, and they all seem to connect when they team up together, and that's what I like about these characters. They're all different, and I just hope they can sort this out. Definitely director James Gunn will not be back on board. I can't see any reprise for him from Disney. I know what they're like. I know what the studio's like in regards to condemning that kind of behaviour, and I do get that. I'm not saying that what James Gunn did was right. Certainly wasn't. Didn't agree with any of them, whatever way was meaning, those statements to be, whether or not it was supposed to be funny. I didn't think it was, and I don't normally say this, but I do support Disney's decision on this.
Yeah, I agree. The tweets were just totally ridiculous, Stephen. You can't be tweeting that. I mean, I know it's 10 years ago or whatever, but that wasn't even acceptable 10 years ago. I remember 10 years ago, paedophilia and rape, it's a line you don't cross. I'm sorry. It's much like the Holocaust and stuff like that. It gets hammered a lot by edgy comedians. You don't cross that line for me. I'm sorry. I can understand he's apologised and people supporting it and whatnot, but he's gone. They're not going to bring him back. This is Disney. They've got a clean-cut image. They want to separate themselves from their dodgy, nefarious background as well and go for the clean-cut image. Fair play to them. Can't argue with that. But we're going to move on, Stephen, to the next topic, which is all about MoviePass. They're back again. They're always in the news every week or so with a new crisis or whatnot. And this time it's them cancelling their yearly subscription option and switching every one of their members to a monthly plan. I believe it's 3 films a month for, I don't know what the pricing is, Stephen, we don't have it over here, but originally I believe the annual plan cost $89 per year and it had left users unaffected by some of the company's recent changes, but that's done now. They're affected now. They're back onto monthly plans like everybody else who's involved in this dodgy charlatan of a company.
MoviePass had this to say, John. After experimenting with different models and options, we believe that our current monthly plan captures the need for our community. Keeping prices low while continually striving to offer a wider selection of films, the company wrote in an email to those affected by the change. This new offering is part of the transition to our new subscription model. We're excited to offer subscribers the option of going to 3 movies a month for $9.95 and providing up to $5 discount for additional movie tickets. In America that probably sounds like a fair deal, but I think that's rubbish. We've got unlimited over here. We don't have those kind of restrictions. So from our point of view, it's not really that impressive. From the US point of view, the paying customer, I think it's probably a decent offering. It's certainly a better model than they previously had. It kind of reeks of desperation to me though, John. I think they're certainly on their knees at the moment and they'll try to pick themselves up. And whether or not this model will work or the damage is done remains to be seen. Yes,
well, over here, Stephen, we pay about, depending on where you go to, we pay around about £18 per month. You get unlimited frays into the cinema. You can watch as many films as you want. You can watch 2 free films a day. You can watch the same film umpteen times a week. There's no restrictions. This is straight from the cinemas. And I do believe AMC theatres over in the United States has now introduced their own subscription service where you can go and watch films. It's slightly more expensive, I believe, than theirs, but it's a better deal. And I think a hell of a lot of people have joined up to that. That's a slap in the face to MoviePass also, who were trying to throw down the gauntlet and throw some ultimatums their way. They were garnered a huge subscription base off of their very cheap subscription service, and then they went to the theatres trying to get a cut into the concessions and stuff like that, and they told them to bugger off, and now they've created their own one. And that has kind of been the downfall of MoviePass. They gambled on getting a cut into the theatre's income. They didn't get it. They were on their legs. They had to get a loan. They've now had to make all sorts of changes, up their subscription fees, change the amount of films and put restrictions on it. You're only getting 3 films a month. As you did say, that's rubbish to us over here. But in the United States, I would imagine that 3 films is for $9.95 or whatever it is. It's not that bad. Certainly if you stay in somewhere like LA or the big cities where it can be upwards of $15, $16, $17 a ticket, depending on what theatre you go to. Certainly you're not going to be going to marquee theatres like the AMC's big ones, because they've banished MoviePass, and I can't blame them. But if I was over there, I don't think I would be involved with this company. There's been so much up and down, so much crisis. They're in and out the news, making changes left, right and centre. They can't even get something set in stone and stick with it. They're making changes upon changes. They're putting people off the annual subscription that they had. And I can understand why. These guys have paid $89 and they can go and watch unlimited films or whatever. They can't allow that to continue. If they're on their knees, they need to change the business model as they have done, and then get these guys onto the same as everybody else, so they'd be hemorrhaging money and they'd be out of business very quickly. I can understand why they're doing it, but they're a dodgy company, and it's a bit of a shit deal when you look in from here. They've got Cinema or something's another service again. I think that's dearer, less restrictions, and it seems a little bit more genuine than this mob. But yeah, they're nefarious. I've not got much more to add. They're a joke company, and I think the cinema should just boot them to the cup.
Our unlimited passes, that's for the Cineworld cinemas over here.
$17.90.
But there isn't a lot of competition over here, to be fair, John. We don't really, I think maybe Odeon have their own version and stuff like that, but for us guys here, it's £17.90 a month, but that includes seeing any film anytime, as many times as you like. You get a 10% off snacks and drinks, which is, whether you're on a diet or not, it's not a good thing. But you get exclusive preview screenings of upcoming releases, and also there's other benefits like you get 25% off at certain restaurants and stuff, Italian restaurants and stuff, which is pretty good if you want to make a night of it. Certainly one of the offers at the moment for Bella Italia. I'm not plugging them, by the way, but they're free gelato for up to 6 people. Those kind of things come up every now and again with Unlimited, which is pretty good. And there's also
somewhere like Silverburn, Steve, when you've got a whole host of restaurants all interconnected into the theatre, and it's great. And I think they offer discounts on the likes of Starbucks as well. So you get coffees and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a whole experience. There's always a Starbucks, clinging onto the side of cinemas over here anyway. And you also get the recommend a friend thing, which is Unlimited members can get 3 months of membership when they recommend Unlimited to their friends, which is a pretty good deal. A lot of these sort of subscription companies do this recommend a friend scheme, and it certainly works for Cineworld as well. But as I said, I think we're very fortunate over here that we don't have really stiff competition. Odeon is probably the biggest competition to Cineworld over here. But as I said, I think the business model probably, it makes a bit more sense than what they had previously. And as you said, they're hemorrhaging money on a daily basis, and they're certainly looking to stitch those wounds up very quickly with this offer, and it remains to be seen if it will work or not, but it could.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, Stephen, as you did say, Odeon's the only real competition for Cineworld over here. You've got View as well, but they don't, as of yet, run an unlimited membership, which is a shame, because I actually do like the View cinemas. They've got great seats, much bigger and roomier than anything that the regular Cineworld theatres. But I think a lot of the reasons why it's so cheap over here as well is because the market is big or competitive over here. You don't get as much people going to see films over here as you do in the United States. It's not as big a market, so they can offer it cheaper, knowing that they'll have less people taking them up and they can get away with it. Certainly if someone's only going to see 2 films a month, it's kind of a working out about even anyway, so they're not hemorrhaging money like these guys. But yeah, they're nefarious. I don't like the company from what I've read. I'm glad they're not over here. I wouldn't get near them with a barge pole, 6-foot barge pole. They're leaving users outraged by not letting them cancel accounts, and they're renewing plans against their will and all of that crap. So not a nice company to be dealing with. But we're going to move on, Stephen, to a story about Emma Watson joining Greta Gerwig's adaptation of Little Women. I believe she's replacing Emma Stone. The part was originally intended for her. She didn't take it. Emma Watson took it. I think the last time we had a story similar to this, Stephen, was surrounding La La Land. Emma Watson was originally intended to play the main character in La La Land alongside Ryan Gosling. She stepped away to join Beauty and the Beast. Emma Stone came in and won an Oscar. So maybe the roles will be reversed this time. Stone stepped away, Watson comes in and wins an Oscar. I don't know.
Do they have the same agent? Because that sounds very similar, John. But this came in from Variety.com in regards to the star-studded remake of Little Women. Star-studded cast, John, including Meryl Streep, Laura Dern, Saoirse Ronan, Timothée Chalamet is in there, and Florence Pugh. Some cast.
Yes.
This is a story that's I think the last cinematic incarnation of this was maybe in the mid-90s. I remember Winona Ryder was involved in that version, and it was very successful. I do know that the BBC had a Little Women mini-series that was aired last year, late last year. I think it was round about winter last year, which had some success. But just going back to the news itself, John, and Emma Watson replacing Emma Stone, it's not a bad move indeed. I think both actresses are very similar in their abilities, and it seems a like-for-like swap here. And I think it's not going to really sort of dampen people's expectations of the cast anyway. I think someone of Watson's calibre coming in, certainly I think she made the right decision in moving to the Beauty and the Beast project. I think she did a marvellous job there. Great singing voice as well. Last film I did see her in was actually The Circle with Tom Hanks. That was a great film. Thoroughly enjoyed that movie.
And Bill Paxton's last films as well, Steve.
Yeah, that's right, John. And Emma Stone, what can I say about her? Same, La La Land, great singing voice in that as well. But this is a movie that I think a lot of people are looking forward to seeing, especially if you're a big Meryl Streep fan. I think a lot of people sort of missed out on her appearance in Mamma Mia 2. I think it's fair to say that I can now say that her character died in that movie.
I haven't even seen it, and I guessed it, Steve.
She did make a sort of emotional reunion with, you know, the character's daughter at the very end. They did a duet, which was very touching. But I think this is going to be a big success for Sony, this movie. It's certainly worked in the past. It's in pre-production. I don't know when this film's released, John. I think it may be next year sometime.
Yeah, Christmas next year, Stephen. Yeah, Christmas next year, and it's of course directed by Greta Gerwig. She's reuniting with Timothée Chalamet and Saoirse Ronan once again, and she also made magic with those two in Lady Bird. I think Saoirse Ronan was, I don't think, did she win the Oscar? I think she was nominated for Best Supporting Actress. I don't think she did win it. It was the woman from Hi Tonya, yeah. She was great as well. I argued about that one when we were doing our Oscar predictions. I think she deserved it, but yeah, Saoirse Ronan, fantastic young actress, up and coming. To see her involved in any film always piques my interest. Emma Watson, as you do see, you look through the cast, Stephen, fantastic cast, mix of good young actors and actresses, mixed with a blend of older wizened actresses, and you don't get much wiser and much better than Meryl Streep. The story I'm not too aware of, I can't lie. I've never read the novels by Louisa May Alcott, but it's apparently about 4 sisters coming of age in America in the aftermath of the Civil War, so it's going to be a period piece. It's going to be, I presume, a drama, which is right up my street. I love drama, I love period pieces, and some of the actors involved just piques my interest right away. The fact that they've got Emma Stone in, the fact that they've got Emma Watson in to replace Emma Stone, or they had it intended for Emma Stone and have now got Emma Watson in, doesn't concern me at all. As you do say, very similar level actresses. Certainly Emma Stone's won an Oscar, Emma Watson hasn't, but I'm sure if Emma Watson was casting the role in La La Land, she didn't leave it for Beauty and the Beast. I'm pretty damn sure she would have won an Oscar for that as well. Such was the calibre of that film. That would have been lifted up no matter who was involved. It was just the right time. It was just a perfect storm for that film. So there's similar ability, similar in looks, similar in age as well. I think Stone's maybe a little bit older. I may be tripping there. But I'm not concerned at all. It's a good move. Greta Gerwig will work magic. She's a fantastic director. She's not been involved in a great many films, but she's worked magic in the few she has done. I think she's only done maybe 3 or 4. So this is very, very promising indeed. It's a star-studded remake, as you did say. I do recall the Winona Ryder one from the 90s. It vaguely rings a bell. Maybe it was put on or something when I was younger and I recall it. But yeah, I've not got much more to add. I don't really know much. I can't come from any real authority for the story, but it's intriguing. It's a period piece. It's drama. Cast has been assembled. It's pretty damn star-studded, as they do say in Variety, and bringing on Watson's just another fine addition to a pretty damn good cast. So can't wait to see this one.
Just moving on, John, this is another piece from Variety.com. This is Netflix set to name Tendo Nagenda top Disney exec to oversee film production now. You know, apparently Netflix is continuing to raid the Disney cupboard, as Variety say here, and is close to stealing away top film executive Tendo Nagenda, who is the executive VP of production at Walt Disney Studios, sources have said. The Disney streaming giant in recent months has been bulking up its original content programming and dealt blows to Disney in last year by signing Shonda Rhimes and Kenya Barris to lucrative production deals. Netflix is now doubling down on its film offerings, building out a slate under Scott Stuber, the former vice chairman of worldwide production at Universal, who helped oversee projects that included the Fast and Furious franchise. This is good news, John, for Netflix, because they are very much aware that the upcoming Disney streaming service is going to really, I can only imagine it's going to hit the ground running once it's released to the wider audience. I don't know the exact date for when this streaming service will be released, but it's going to be a big deal certainly worldwide, particularly in the US, Australia, and obviously here in Europe. And Netflix will be keeping an eye on that, because they will not want to be blown out of the water by this. And they certainly are, you know, they're assembling a great number and a great list of talented people, you know, as we've just mentioned from this report. And it's going to be very interesting to see how this will affect the quality of Netflix original content. Certainly, you know, I've not really been very fair to it in the past. I think a lot of the original content, for every, you know, one great original content film or television series that comes out from Netflix, you will get maybe a couple of bad ones in there. But this certainly is good news for Netflix, John.
Yeah, you're absolutely, Stephen. It just again confirms the growing stature of digital streaming in the world of film and entertainment. You've got the likes of Netflix continuing to expand their influence. They're taking on more films that have not got distribution deals. They're buying films off of major studios for cut down prices. And then, as you do see in this article, they're taking some of the big names from Disney, some big producers. I can't lie, I didn't know a great deal about this guy. I'm not going to make it up and say I did. But when you look at his things he's been influenced in, he's overseen the likes of Saving Mr. Banks, Beauty and the Beast, Queen of Cataway, A Wrinkle in Time. That was a bit crap, can't lie. But Cinderella was actually a very good film. I enjoyed that. Dumbo's coming out. So there's a whole host of things he's really been involved with that have been mostly good through Disney. The other ones, Shonda Rhimes and stuff like that, they've been involved in a lot of good TV series over the years, the likes of Grey's Anatomy and stuff like that. So it's interesting to see them pinching these prominent figures within the likes of Disney and really try to bolster the producing side of things for their original content. The fact that you've got it all happening under a former vice chairman of Universal, aka Scott Stuber, just again shows you them really trying to go to war with Disney. They've obviously seen that Disney are going to introduce their own streaming service next year. I'm sure Amazon aren't going to back down from either of these two companies as well. They're going to want to push on and make their streaming service great. We're going to see a battle of the wills between these three monstrous companies. I mean, Amazon, I think the owner of Amazon is one of the richest guys in the world. He's worth a ridiculous amount, billions upon billions of dollars. So this guy ain't going to back down to Netflix or Disney. So you're going to see a real battle between these three companies vying for first place in the digital streaming market. Disney will have all their amazing animated films, Star Wars and stuff they're acquiring from the Fox merger. Netflix will have their own unique content that they're firing out onto the likes of these chaps that they're pinching, up and coming and really talented producers, and Amazon will do their thing as well. So I can't really add much more on to say fair play to Netflix if this guy's a very prominent and up and coming figure within Disney, because they've won a watch, they've got him in. It's going to bolster their side of things. I'm sure it will increase the standard of films that you're going to see coming out from Netflix, which can only be a good thing, because as I did say, it's a 50-50, 60-40 hit ratio for me. A lot of it's a lot of crap, some of it's very, very good. And again, it's just, as I did say, at the risk of repeating myself, continues to confirm the growing influence of a digital streaming service in the new age of entertainment that's going to replace going to the theatre in maybe the next 10 years. I'm absolutely convinced of it. You'll still have people like us who love seeing it in the big screen, but more and more you're seeing people not really caring how they consume content. They're just happy to watch it on an iPad or on a TV, and it floats their boat. So they're really harnessing this in every way, shape or form.
Yeah, John, I think as well, I think we can go as far as saying it's going to affect television as a whole as well. Certainly the signs are there. You know, I can only speak for myself, but I'm more likely to go on a streaming service now than, you know, tune into ITV or BBC now, because I like the fact that you can go in and watch something when I want to watch it and pick up where I left off if I've got to pop out or whatever. I know that the likes of the BBC and ITV over here have the iPlayer and the ITV player over here where you can catch up with things and stuff like that. But quality-wise, I think Netflix are getting their act together here. I think they're up in their game. They're aware of the upcoming threat from Disney. I don't think they're going to be in competition with Disney, to be fair. Disney is such a monster. They've got all this content and certainly all these franchises under their belt as well that's going to blow all the other streaming services out of the water. But at the end of the day, I think Netflix have been very realistic as well. I think, you know, bringing these talented producers in for different departments within Netflix is probably the best way to do this. They know that they've got to keep up some kind of standard, and you've got to remember, I can remember when I first subscribed to Netflix, you were getting like films like RoboCop and stuff like that. They've certainly come on a long way since then. RoboCop's one of my favourite films, by the way. I'm not slating it in any form or fashion, but they certainly have come on a long way since then in the last 10 years, more so for their original content. It's still a mixed bag for me, but I think with these people coming on board now, I think we're going to see better production.
Yeah, absolutely. The final thing I'll throw in, Stephen, is an interesting little tidbit I wasn't aware. There was a second Come to America film planned. Apparently one of the chaps that they took, I don't know if it's still planned now, that they've nabbed Kenya Barris. I think it's linked to him. He used to get some part to play in a Come to America 2 film. How the hell would that work? I don't even want to know. I'm going to move on swiftly, Stephen, to the next story because I can't add much more to that. And it's all about Top Gun, and it's released names for the upcoming Top Gun sequel. We've got a casting call, and with that we've got a whole host of very 80s inspired names within this casting call. Most prominent one that they're really picking out is Lardo. For me, Slayer and Warlock and Cyclone, better that. But there's a whole host of names in here that I would be very happy to have as a call sign if I was a fighter pilot.
I'm pretty sure the name Lardo probably popped up in the playground, back in the 1980s. It's very un-PC now for people of a certain shape. But I'm just looking at some of those names, John. Phoenix, FKA Sugar, Slayer, Bob, Warlock, Cyclone, Lardo, as we mentioned, Amelia, FKA Miriam,
It's a bit crap.
Payback, Fanboy, Harvard and Yale, Viking and Coyote. Now this is really just, I can imagine that they've got most of these people in place now for the upcoming, I think it's called Top Gun Maverick. I don't think it's called Top Gun 2 or anything like that. But it's just really following on from the original movie and some of those names that came out, the likes of, as we said, Maverick and Iceman and Goose and Viper, etc. And some of the names actually are at, they fit into this world. Some of them sound a little bit silly just now, but they might grow on us anyway. But this is coming in from /film.com, and they actually did say, prior warning to looking at these names, some of them are quite goofy.
They are, but that's just Top Gun, Stephen, all over. I mean, you've got a film where the fighter pilot's flipping his plane over and clicking the finger to the pilot underneath. Actually impossible in real life, but yeah, it's goofy. That's Top Gun. Playing volleyball on the beach with no top on and stonewashed jeans, that's Top Gun. I've only seen it once. Listen, it's an absolutely classic film. Classic Tom Cruise. The guy's been peppered with questions about this film over the last decade. When's it coming? 2 decades. When's it coming? When's it coming? We're going to get a Top Gun sequel. And now it's finally coming. And you look at the slew of actors they're getting on board, the likes of Ed Harris and John Hamm, Tom Cruise coming back as Maverick. And he's going to be joined by a whole host of young and some not so young characters. I love the fact when you look through this casting call that you do get the ethnicities they're looking for, the sex, the gender they're looking for, and the age range. It's intriguing when you look through it and see which ones you can play and which ones you wouldn't be able to play if you were an actor. It's quite depressing actually when you realise that some of the characters you're getting a little bit on in years and you can't play them. And I'm only 29, man, I shouldn't be saying that, but listen, I can't play Harvard and Yale, I can't play Viking, or Coyote, or Fanboy. I wouldn't want to play Payback anyway. I can't play Lardo, sadly. I'm just missing out on that as well. But hey, I ain't a fat guy, and I'm certainly not a naval technical specialist. So, but it's intriguing. You look at it, and it's some of the words used are incredible, man. Sassy, extrovert, breaking down all barriers that come when a young women are involved with the naval aviation, risk takers, and you look at it, some of the names are incredible. Self-righteous, cocky, an incredible aviator to back it up. Gregarious and charming. Lardo is honest, loyal, and he's a warrant officer of the Navy. I love this. I love reading through it. This is right up my street. And it just gives you an insight on what the hell they're going to do with this. You're going to get a mixture of old and youth. Again, we'll get the old guys like Maverick, sad to say, coming in and maybe teaching these young pups how to do it. I can't wait to see this film. I don't know what the hell the backstory is. I don't know how it's playing out. I've seen people talking about it. I just know I'll watch it no matter what. I don't give a shit. I'll watch this film no matter whether it's good or bad. Miles Teller's getting linked. He's going to be playing a younger Bradley Bradshaw, son of a late Goose. So that hints that we're going to have something along the same ways of a Creed, Stephen, where we're going to see a younger offspring of a classic character getting introduced. Joseph Kaczynski's directing it. So should be good. Yeah,
it looks like they're passing the baton on, John,
yes,
to this younger cast members. And just looking at that list again, John,
yes.
Certainly predominantly fighter pilots, these characters, but Miles Teller, I think that's a good casting announcement. I thought he was great in Bleed for this, and the other film I remember him in was Whiplash, from 2014. It was a fantastic movie. I also do remember him being in the Fantastic Four playing Reed Richards, which was an absolute disaster of a movie. It wasn't his fault, to be fair, but he's a good young actor, and I think this kind of film would suit his acting abilities, and certainly will not do his CV any harm being involved in a Top Gun film, certainly being involved in a film involving Tom Cruise. And it looks like Tom Cruise is going to play the sort of Rocky Balboa, just using that Creed comparison there, John. He's certainly going to be the Rocky Balboa to Miles Teller's Creed. So it's going to be very interesting. He's obviously going to take him under his wing, if you pardon the pun, but I think it's going to be a movie that a lot of people who grew up in the 1980s loved. They're going to come out and see this film, but also Tom Cruise fans as well. Tom Cruise has been predominant, certainly every couple of years he's involved in some kind of blockbuster, and more or less these films are a success, so the younger generations will be familiar with him anyway because he's such a prominent actor, and I think it's going to be a successful film. Whether or not, I don't really know too much about the plot and where they're going to go with this, other than he is taking this younger pilot under his wing, and where it will go from there, whether or not they're planning the new cast to carry on this franchise or not, who knows.
Yeah, and the final thing I had, Stephen, is that Kaczynski, who's directing it, has worked with Tom Cruise before on Oblivion, a film that I actually did enjoy quite a bit. I think I actually maybe reviewed that earlier in the year. It was a kind of a sci-fi twist. He directed Tron Legacy, which was also a remake of a classic film. That was actually quite decent. It wasn't a patch on the original, but it was still good. And more recently done Only the Brave, so he's a very good director. He's not done a huge amount of films, he's only done 5, 6, and overall they've been a decent standard, so it's promising for this Top Gun film. But we're going to move on to the final topic in this week's show, and it's all about Danny Boyle quitting the latest Bond film, Bond 25. We're getting conflicting reports here, Stephen. Some are saying it's over a row with Daniel Craig over the choice of casting for the villain. Others are saying it's over the direction of the film in general. Daniel Craig wanted to kill off Bond and have a weird sort of a Doctor Who regeneration thing going on at the end. Danny didn't agree, and so he quit. But if you look through this article, I've actually got 2 articles open, one from Esquire and one from the Daily Mail. And the Daily Mail says that it's absolute chaos on this production, with people leaving left, right and centre. So signs ain't good for this film. There was talk of it getting delayed, getting put back a year to a 2020 release. Others are saying that it's a lot of crap. It's scaremongering from rival distributors, hoping that the film will get delayed, and indeed it's going to meet its release date. I don't think it is. It's lost its director. People are leaving production. There's squabbles over the direction of the plot. This ain't making its release date. I don't know who to side with, because I'm not that big a Bond fan. I find it ridiculous. This franchise has been on for years without even a hint of real danger towards the character. It's like the classic Partridge, Stephen. James Bond's going to die. Well, he's not, because he can't die. The guy's bulletproof.
Yeah, John, we were talking about this before we come on air. I think this is something that should have been handled years and years ago, as far as back as the 1960s, after Sean Connery's performance as James Bond. But these are based on books, Ian Fleming books, you've got to remember. So I think the Doctor Who quote is really metaphorically speaking here. I don't think they actually mean, that Daniel Craig is going to morph into a different actor and he's still going to be called James Bond. I think what they mean by that is that anyone can take the mantle, anyone can take the title of 007, not James Bond. So you can have a John Smith coming in and playing 007 as a new, and it would have added to the stakes of the current character, in this case James Bond, and is he going to die, but as I said, these are based on the Ian Fleming books. They go back a long way, and it's just one of those things. In regards to this article, Danny Boyle quitting over a disagreement with Daniel Craig, I don't know if that's been confirmed, if it's just rumour or not. I don't believe that for a minute. I don't believe that Daniel Craig would have such influence. He's only been playing the character for the past decade, and the franchise itself will carry on. Whether it goes from strength to strength really remains to be seen. I know there was a lot of backlash when he was cast as James Bond back in the early 2000s when it was announced for the upcoming Casino Royale movie, which is actually, I'm not a big Bond fan, but I actually enjoyed that movie. I thought this could have been any film. not just a James Bond film, and it was thoroughly enjoyable. But as I said, I think that's what it really does mean in terms of replacing the character, but not the actual title of 007, which could carry on to any shape or form, man or woman. And it could work, but you're going to have your James Bond fanatics that will be really against that kind of idea as well. You know, the reports of Daniel Craig want to kill him off as well. I think that's speculation as well. I don't think that's been confirmed. That might have just been something that came into his head and he maybe have suggested it, or I don't think he actually will have any influence on the final decision when this movie is released. But I know because of Danny Boyle coming away from the project now, this has delayed the movie by another year, which is sad for James Bond fans.
Yes, that's the final thing I'll add. It's going to be a lengthy final thing, but it's a final thing nonetheless, is that apparently there's been clashes from the very beginning, because when Danny Boyle came on to do this film, one of the producers, or the producer, Barbara Broccoli, handed him an already completed script. And Danny wasn't happy with that, so he wanted to get his writing partner and his entirely new team, headed up by John Hodge, on board to fire in his own personal touch. And this infuriated Broccoli. I'd be infuriated too if I had a name like that, but apparently infuriated her. And there's been clashes on and off. You also had the nonsense with Daniel Craig going on about how he'd rather slit his wrists than play Bond again, which is a bit perplexing, to be honest with you, when you're heading up a franchise like this. If you're not happy, leave, Daniel. Get Idris in. Everybody wants Idris Elba in. The first black Bond. He's tailor-made for it. The guy's built like a brick shit house. He's athletic. He can do the posh voice. He's a great actor. Get him in if you're not happy, Daniel, and bugger off. But I'm getting sidetracked. They describe it as pandemonium on the production, and I'm not surprised. You've got clashes over writing, you've got clashes over villain choices. Try to pick some Polish actor called Thomas Scott from Cold War and a whole host of terrible looking TV movies. And it was described as a left field decision for a Bond bad guy, and I'm not surprised. I'd have left too. So it seems to me like the more I read into this, I'm siding more and more with Danny Boyle on this one. He's been handed a script he doesn't want. He's wanted to put his own touches. This is a guy that's renowned for his storytelling and his filmmaking. You don't bring a guy like that on and then give him a pre-made script. And then he's getting Daniel Craig putting in, throwing his oar in, picking actors for the villain, the main antagonist in the film. Apparently his name is included on the release about the Boyle's departure. He's got an unhealthy influence on things.
Sounds like Ronaldo.
Yeah, it does. And Broccoli, this Broccoli character, sounds like a bit of a git to work for too. So I'm siding more and more with Danny Boyle on this one. But as you did say, Stephen, getting off on a tangent, it's a shame for Bond fans. I'm not a big Bond fan. I've certainly watched the films. Never did get the infatuation with it, because there's no stakes. But it's a shame for them. But we'll see what happens going forward, who they get on board. Maybe Daniel will bugger off if he's not happy, and we'll get someone who actually wants to play the character, be it Idris Elba, Tom Hardy, or a whole host of other guys who could play the part very well. I don't know, but we'll see in time. And that brings us to the end of this week's episode of Movie Burner News, where we break down all the latest entertainment news. We'd just like to thank you for listening to us once again, and we'll be back tomorrow with the Movie Burner blog rundown.
Remember guys, if you enjoyed that episode, then do hit that like button, comment below, and maybe subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. If you want to follow us on social media for all the latest updates from Movie Burner Entertainment, then we can be found on Twitter and Facebook at Movie Burners. You can also listen to us on Google Play and iTunes at the Movie Burner Podcast. And last but not least, if you want to access all the latest written reviews and the occasional article, then that can be found on our website at movieburnerentertainment.org. Until the next time, goodbye.